Welcome to my Views and News evening update for you on the ongoing conflict in Sudan. Firstly, what happened in the last 24 hours in terms of fighting, airstrikes, deployment, movement of forces. Secondly, what is overall situation in Khartoum, in Western Sudan, Eastern Sudan. Thirdly, importantly, diplomatic efforts. Two countries are showing the diplomatic clout in Sudan, US and the UAE. We'll try to analyze all these angles of this conflict. Firstly, second 24-hour-long ceasefire is about to expire in Sudan. Sudan has seen 4 ceasefires in the last 7 days or so. 2 were 3-hour-long ceasefires, and the last 2 were 24-hour-long ceasefires. Ceasefire was announced, but not completely implemented. We saw airstrikes even today on Rapid Support Forces headquarters in Khartoum, which is basically a building of intelligence agency of Sudan being used by RSF as its headquarters. Airstrikes on this building confirmed today. RSF fighters who are at Al Khartoum International Airport, they blew up fuel tanks of a plane there. And we saw airstrikes in Khartoum on RSF's headquarters at the building of former headquarters of intelligence agency of Sudan. Fighting still ongoing. Clashes near airport, near military headquarters continuing. Though intensity has decreased, but clashes went on. Secondly, Sudanese Air Force is conducting airstrikes on the convoys of RSF fighters who are trying to enter or on their way towards Khartoum. And Sudanese military confirmed today airstrikes on Tahdi Road and on Al Bara Road, roads leading into Khartoum city from outside. Confirmation. Mobilization of RSF fighters is being seen to the north of Khartoum. Why are they trying to launch some sort of offensive in the north? Or are the deployment defensive? There could be involvement of Egyptian military. Whatever the reason is, but deployment, mobilization of RSF in northern Khartoum is being reported. Maybe we know that northern state is power base of Sudanese military. So there could be movement of Sudanese military and supporters of Sudanese military from northern state towards Khartoum. That is why we're seeing that RSFers are trying to take control of roads between Khartoum and northern Sudan, Khartoum and northern state. So, overall situation is that intensity of fighting decreased, airstrikes continue. RSF is trying to engage fighter jets of Sudanese military using anti-aircraft guns, which we know have limited capabilities. They can only engage anti-aircraft guns or manpads can only engage low-flying aircrafts and helicopters. So basically, RSF have no defense against airstrikes. So RSF is trying to counter Sudanese Air Force's air superiority by anti-aircraft guns. Obviously, there is no defense. Anti-aircraft guns are no defense. While now Egypt is involved, we know that Egyptian Air Force is one of the best in Africa. Egypt has a unique combination of world's best fighter jets and bombers. It has world-class Russian and American bombers and fighter jets. There is no better Air Force in Africa than Egyptian Air Force. That is what I understand. When I covered Libyan war, we saw that Egypt has quality fighter jets, bombers, and air defense systems too. If Egypt is fully involved openly, obviously RSF will have more problems. So far RSF trying to hold on to its positions in Khartoum. No signs of withdrawal, but the movement of RSF's convoys towards Khartoum is being blocked by Sudanese military. RSF in a strong position in Khartoum, we can say. They are patrolling the streets of Khartoum. Those who are fleeing Khartoum, they are seeing RSF fighters patrolling the streets. They're in control of areas in Khartoum. This is overall situation of what happened in the last 12 hours or so. Secondly, diplomatic efforts. Two countries are emerging as key players who are showing the diplomatic clout in this country and region, US and the United Arab Emirates, UAE. UAE today secured the release of Egyptian POWs. Egyptian soldiers were taken prisoner by Rapid Support Forces, 27 from Marwa Air Force Base, Northern Sudan. And today UAE announced the release of these soldiers, saying that UAE's mediatory efforts worked. And yesterday, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, MBZ, and Abdul Fattah al-Sisi held telephonic conversation. After that, RSF released Egyptian soldiers who were handed over by RSF to the Red Cross today. Red Cross handed them over to Egyptian embassy in Sudan. So UAE, obviously, it means has influence over Rapid Support Forces. US, from day one, the only country which has been working proactively to put an end to this war is the US. Antony Blinken is in touch with the two leaders. It was after Antony Blinken, Burhan talk that the two sides, Burhan and Hamati, agreed to a ceasefire. And these minutes, an IGAD meeting is underway. Inter-Government Authority and Development, 8-member regional platform in East Africa is holding a meeting. And reportedly, Blinken is addressing the meeting. And Blinken said he would contact Hamati later today. And he said that he wants to deliver a message to the parties to conflict in Sudan that international community wants continuation of ceasefire through Eid. Today is 29th of Ramadan in Sudan. If moon is sighted today, tomorrow will be Eid. If moon is not sighted, then tomorrow Muslims will fast, and on Saturday they'll celebrate Eid. Eid is a religious festival in Muslim world. So US and other players, they're asking Hamati and Burhan to extend the ceasefire, which is expiring now after a few minutes, through Eid, maybe for 2 to 3 days. I think that the parties will agree to extension. So you see that US is proving its global reach. Difference between the US, China, US, Russia is that US is in the forefront. Whatever US interests are in this region, keeping the interests aside, at least someone is there talking to the parties, convincing the parties to a ceasefire. That is what global power should do. And if Russia, US, China join hands in getting a ceasefire, in convincing the parties to ceasefire, you would see the impact of this alliance. This alliance is unlikely here. At least US is trying its best for a ceasefire. And US is trying through some Arab allies and through IGAD. Involvement of IGAD, African Union and Arab world is being done by the US to put an end, temporary end at least, to fighting in Sudan. And I think in coming hours we could see announcement of extension of ceasefire, though there is no complete ceasefire. But at least we're seeing the people are being allowed to leave Khartoum. Tens of thousands have left Khartoum in the past 48 hours. Streets are filled with dead bodies. Smell of dead bodies is too much. For people, it's difficult to travel because they say that the smell of dead bodies is it's painful, it's sickening. At the same time, RSF fighters are there, patrolling the streets of Khartoum city. So all these challenges are being faced by those who want to leave Khartoum, but they are leaving Khartoum. Meanwhile, from Western Sudan, we received a report that relative calm is returning to southern Darfur. Nyala is main city of southern Darfur, and today we got information that life is returning to normal in Nyala, where there was fighting between RSF and government forces around 3 days ago. Hospitals looted, MSF aid looted, markets looted. Things returning to normal. No large-scale fighting in Nyala, southern Darfur. Hospital back to work, though this restoration is limited. Electricity, water services being restored. Eastern Sudan under tight control of Sudanese army. We saw protests in support of Sudanese army in Al Damazin, Blue Nile state today. Kassala, Gaddarif, Blue Nile, Red Sea, all regional states under tight control of Sudanese army. Therefore, intensity of fighting decreased. Khartoum very volatile. Airstrikes continue, and RSF is trying to consolidate its hold of the Khartoum city, capital city. So that is what we have learned from the ground so far. Displacements of civilians in Sudan and out of Sudan continue. Chad has closed its border with Sudan, but still around 10 to 20,000 people have fled to Sudan from Darfur. People are trying to flee to wherever they can go. They want to leave areas of conflict. So basically, humanitarian disaster is engulfing a country where there has been high inflation, unemployment, rising food prices. Economy already crumbled before the start of this war. Now we're seeing new problems being faced by the people. They are trying to leave conflict areas, risking their lives, leaving their loved ones dead in some cases behind them. It's very painful what we are hearing from the ground. Overall, those who are trying to resolve the conflict should be backed, appreciated. People say US has these interests, others have these. At least they are trying to resolve the conflict. If no one intervenes, this war will go on. This war will go on. These power-hungry warlords, Houthi and Burhan, will keep on killing people through their irresponsible decision, through their hunger for power. That is what is happening. Try to update you in coming videos. Hopefully, I'll try to do a daily video in the evening with evening updates for you on Sudan War. Thank you for watching.